Welcome to Facebook Live. Good to see you. Good to see you on Facebook. Good to see you here. Thanks for being here. I know that there's a lot of videos out there. I know that there's a lot of other things that you could be doing right now, but thank you for choosing this moment, this second to join me. You're going to get a lot of value from it, and I am too. Okay, so here's what we're going to talk about today. Today we're going to talk about fasting, and I know I've talked about this before, but I want to take it from a different angle, and I want to take it from a practical angle so that we can get rid of the misinformation out there. We see all this stuff about fasting and how to do it, why it's important, but I want to break it down for you. So if you're a consultant, if you're a coach, if you're a wellness business owner, or if you're just looking to enhance your life and to start using fasting or incorporating fasting, I want to talk about if it is for you, because quite frankly, it's not for everybody. If it makes sense for you, your personality, your lifestyle, the benefits to it, and how that you can start incorporating that. So let's dive right in. Thanks again for being here. So fasting, what we get to understand about fasting is it's a very advanced tool. So if you're just starting on your journey and you set an intention that you desire to eat healthy, you desire to start paying attention to what you are eating, do not start fasting, because here's what happens. Fasting is amazing because it resets your hormones, it resets your testosterone, it gives your digestive tract a break. It basically resets your entire body. It even starves cancer cells through a process called apoptosis, where cancer cells quite literally commit suicide. So you see the benefits are amazing. But if you haven't laid the foundation yet, you could be in a world of hurt. Here's what I mean. If you haven't set the foundation and you're looking to eat healthy and you're like, I'm just going to go right into fasting, okay? Fasting, what that means is that we are giving our body a break from processing food. Therefore, we are not eating. Now, this fasting can be anywhere between 16, 24 hours. Some go even 48 hours. I never recommend that. I would say anywhere between 16 and 24. 16 if you're just beginning. But what happens is if we haven't laid the foundation, this is where we're in a world of trouble. Because when we fast for 16 hours or 17 hours, we convince ourselves or we rationalize ourselves we're not mentally mature enough to, when we're done, to say, all right, now we're going to actually dive into, we're hungry, but we're going to dive into some healthier foods. No, we're going to have this emotional drive, or this emotional willpower is not going to help way of thinking that because we've just fasted for the last 16 hours, we now get to eat all this crap. Well, then that defeats the purpose of fasting to begin with. The whole point of fasting is so that we can reset. And you want to talk about detoxifying, stay away from all these cleanses and all that other bullshit. Fasting will detoxify your body if you choose to break your fast using healthy food options, whole food options, and to not gorge. Okay, so again, if you are in a spot right now, I don't care if you're in a place right now where you're just starting, maybe you're more advanced and you've been doing this for quite some time. This is very important for you to realize that you must have the foundation in place before you start utilizing the advanced tool of fasting. All right? You following this? Throw a comment below if this is making sense. If you're just beginning and you're wanting to know more about fasting, I would love to hear from you. Okay? Let's move right along. Thanks, Mark, for being here. Thanks. Ooh, hey, Ed, what's going on, my man? Glad to have you on here. All right, so fasting. Okay, so we've talked about the reasons why we shouldn't just dive into it. Now, let's talk a little bit about when we should. Okay? What we get to realize is that fasting is a stressor. Okay? Much like exercise is a stressor, it's a good stressor. Much like being consumed by technology through Facebook, and we're not paying attention to what's going on in our lives, and we're coming from this place of this reactivity, that's a stressor. Late to drop your kids off at school, that's a stressor. You get the picture. We're talking about internal and external stressors, and we as human beings, individually, uniquely, can only handle so much stress throughout the day. For me, I cannot handle a lot of stress. It's just the way my body is. Typically what you see is you'll notice that I have a narrow frame. Typically the more narrow the frame, and I'm speaking in generalities here, the more narrow the frame is, the less stress that you can handle from a central nervous system perspective. So I can't handle a lot of stress. So if for whatever reason I have a week where I'm blowing and going, I'm burning the candle at both ends, which this is far from what I'm about, but it happens from time to time. These are the times that the last thing I'm going to do is fast. Because fasting is another stressor. Although it resets your computer, think of it like this. You go to your computer, you reset it. It's great for the computer, though if there's something if there's a deadline you're trying to meet, or there's something you've got to do very quickly, because your computer is rebooting, you don't get the opportunity to do that. So that in turn creates a stressor for you. So it's kind of a paradox here. It's great to reboot the system, but by not eating, your body is not immediately getting the fuel it requires to thrive in stressful circumstances, because it uses that energy to help you move through that situation, from a primal standpoint, to help us survive, to keep us in this fight or flight mode. Is fight or flight mode good to be in all the time? No. You've got the sympathetic, which is fight or flight, and you've got the parasympathetic, which is where you're more calm and relaxed. And there's an even keel here. As long as you're not in fight or flight for too long, and you get back to that comfortable range into that parasympathetic stage, which through meditation and through even a lighter exercise, through turning off technology, you can activate that parasympathetic nervous system, and now you're a little bit more comfortable. You're away from this reactive fight or flight mode. I digress. So getting back to what we're talking about here is it's not for everybody. And it's your job. Like, I can't say right now, generally speaking, it's for everybody, or it's not for you specifically. This is something that you got to play by ear. And this, my friend, is why this is an advanced technique. Because if you don't understand how food affects you, if you haven't laid the foundation, you don't have the capability to even understand if it's right for you. This is why with my own clients, and then with some of the wellness businesses I work with the systems that they use, we're not talking about fasting until 6 months. So be careful with this. If you're really looking to empower somebody, don't start with fasting. Although it's good to keep in the back of their mind, maybe use it as a carrot. Say, when we get to this certain point, when you start to understand how food starts to affect you, and you are in tune with your body, and you can understand if your body is inflamed or not. Now, to the average person, what I'm saying right now doesn't make any sense. But once you've gotten there, and if you're there right now, you understand what I'm talking about. Once you get to that point, then you can start incorporating things like fasting and some of these more advanced tools. So we've talked about the benefits. We've talked about who it's really not for, the type A personality, those who can't handle a ton of stress. You know if this is you. So if you really want to incorporate fasting long term, you got to change your emotional state first. You've got to have mechanisms in your life that give you not an escape, but a way to relieve some of all this noise that's going on. Because if you don't have those techniques, then you're not ready for fasting. And I know this is not what people are saying. People are talking about how great fasting is and how important it is and how healthy it is. It is if you're ready for it, if you're available for it, if you have given yourself the opportunity to be perfectly set up for it. But other than that, we're not talking about the end-all be-all, okay? From a religious perspective, you see fasting all the time. And it's quite therapeutic, but intention is everything. And if we're doing it for fat loss, you see, our why. If we're doing it for fat loss, and we're already having a ton of other stressors in our life, you're going to find this to be the opposite of therapeutic. You're going to find this to be more of a challenging experience. And while challenging experiences are good, we don't want to push ourselves to that threshold. Okay? So if this resonated with you, I want to hear from you. I want to hear in the comments below, what are you getting from this? What is it that, have you tried fasting before? Have you been down this road? Have you experienced, what has your experience been like? I want to know. I want to hear from you. Throw that in the comments below. If you have any questions at all about fasting in general, I've been doing this for the last 10 years, And I've been working with hundreds of people, not only domestically here in the United States, but on a global scale now. And not only just with my clients, but working with other wellness facility owners, chiropractors, gym owners, even some medical doctors. The opportunity has been amazing, though it's important that we realize that we must set ourselves up. We must set the foundation before we start utilizing all of these crazy tactics like fasting, and then there's some like ketosis. And we've got to keep it simple, people. We've got to make sure that we understand the foundation, the basics first, and then we can start incorporating some of this other stuff, some of this other fluffy, hypey stuff. All right? So I hope you got some value from this. I deeply appreciate you being here with me today, for taking the time out. If you have any questions at all, again, throw it in the comments below. Have a great, is it Tuesday? Have a great Tuesday. I'll talk to you soon.